What if the biggest update to 100 Days at Sea was never actually released? What are the devs hiding, and will staying to the end reveal the shocking truth behind the missing patch, exposing a sinister plan that threatens the entire Roblox community? What happened to the patch notes for the infamous 1.5 update? The 1.5 update for 100 Days at Sea was supposed to be a game changer, with promises of new content, bug fixes, and performance enhancements. However, when the update finally dropped, something was off. The patch notes were nowhere to be found, and players were left to discover the changes on their own. This was unusual, as the devs were always thorough in their patch notes, detailing every tweak and fix. The lack of transparency sparked a flurry of speculation, with some players claiming that the update was not what it seemed. One player, known for their meticulous note-taking, reported that the update had added a strange, unused asset to the game's files. Further investigation revealed that this asset was tied to an unknown variable, which was only accessible through a specific debug command. As players dug deeper, they discovered that this variable was linked to a peculiar error message, which would only appear under specific circumstances. The message read, "Connection to Erebus server lost." The question on everyone's mind was, what is the Erebus server, and why was the game trying to connect to it? Theories ranged from a hidden multiplayer mode to a secret testing environment. But one thing was certain, the devs were not telling us the whole story. The discovery of this error message sent shockwaves through the community, with many players speculating about the true purpose of the 1.5 update. As the community continued to investigate, they stumbled upon an interesting finding: the update had introduced a new, seemingly innocuous, line of code. This line, however, contained a fascinating reference to an obscure programming concept, which some players believed was more than just a clever Easter egg. Theories began to emerge, suggesting that this line of code was, in fact, a hint at a much larger, more complex system. But what did it all mean, and how did it tie into the mysterious Erebus server? Why did the devs scrub the 1.5 update from the official changelog? As the community continued to investigate the 1.5 update, they noticed something strange: the official changelog had been updated to remove all references to the patch. The changelog, which was once a comprehensive record of every update, bug fix, and new feature, now had a gaping hole where the 1.5 update should have been. This was a drastic departure from the devs' usual transparency, and it raised more questions than answers. What were they trying to hide, and why was the 1.5 update so special that it warranted a complete erasure from the record? The community was determined to get to the bottom of it, and they began to scour the internet for any mentions of the update. They discovered that some players had managed to save the original patch notes, which had been posted on the game's forum before being taken down. The notes revealed that the update had included a number of fixes for rare bugs, as well as some balance changes to the game's mechanics. However, there was one entry that stood out: a mention of a new experimental feature that had been added to the game. The feature was not explained, and the devs had refused to comment on it. The community was left to wonder what this feature could be, and why it was so important that the devs would go to such great lengths to keep it under wraps. As the investigation continued, players began to notice a strange trend. Players who had been active during the 1.5 update were now experiencing strange glitches and bugs. It was as if the update had introduced a new, unpredictable variable into the game, one that was causing chaos and destruction. But what was the cause of these glitches, and how did they tie into the mysterious experimental feature? What is the purpose of the Erebus server, and why is the game trying to connect to it? The Erebus server drop sent the 100 Days at Sea community into a frenzy, with players scrambling to decipher its secrets. Rumors swirled like a maelstrom, with some claiming it was a hidden multiplayer mode, while others believed it was a testing ground for upcoming features. But one thing was crystal clear: the devs were holding their cards close to their chest. The community decided to take matters into their own hands, launching a forensic analysis of the game's code. What they unearthed was a complex web of servers and protocols, like a digital labyrinth, with the Erebus server at its core. It seemed the game was attempting to establish a connection to a parallel network, but the why and what for remained a mystery. As investigators dug deeper, they stumbled upon an automated system that was monitoring player activity, sending back reports to the devs with all the stealth of a ghost. But what was the purpose of these reports, and why the secrecy? The more the community uncovered, the more questions they had, like trying to grasp a fistful of sand. It became glaringly obvious that the Erebus server was merely the tip of a gargantuan iceberg, with a far more intricate system lurking beneath the surface. But what was the endgame, and how did it tie into the enigmatic 1.5 update? The community was now tangled in a web of intrigue, and the only certainty was that they were being watched, and the truth was waiting to be unearthed. And then, just as they thought they were getting close to the truth, the Erebus server went dark, leaving behind only a haunting message: Project Erebus initiated. What is the purpose of the automated system, and why is it monitoring player activity? The automated system revelation sparked a maelstrom of questions, with the community determined to uncover the truth. As they dug deeper, they found the system was tracking player activity, analyzing behavior, and sending detailed reports back to the devs. But what was the endgame? A complex algorithm was unearthed, scouring player data for patterns and anomalies, leaving everyone wondering what the devs were searching for. The investigation led to a stunning discovery: the automated system was merely one cog in a massive machine. This system was designed to identify and flag specific players, but the criteria remained a mystery. A cryptic blacklist emerged, tied to the automated system, and players who landed on it experienced bizarre glitches and bugs. The community was left reeling, unsure what was causing these issues or why certain players were being targeted. It became clear the automated system was just one thread in an intricate web of systems and protocols. But what was the ultimate objective, and how did it connect to the enigmatic 1.5 update? The more the community uncovered, the more they realized how little they knew. Every new revelation raised more questions, and the truth seemed to slip further away. As they grasped for answers, the silence from the devs was deafening. And then, just as they thought they were closing in on the truth, the system went dark. The screens flickered, and an ominous message appeared: System update initiated. Please stand by. The community was left staring at the screens, frozen in anticipation, as the update counter began to tick down. And then, everything went black. What is the purpose of the blacklist, and why are flagged players experiencing strange glitches? The blacklist bombshell had detonated, sending the community into a frenzy. Demands for answers were met with deafening silence from the devs, so players took matters into their own hands. As they dug deeper, they uncovered a complex web of factors and criteria that fed into the blacklist. Flagged players were plagued by bizarre glitches and bugs, but what was the catalyst for these issues? The investigation led to a startling revelation: the blacklist was inextricably linked to the automated system, which was tracking and flagging players exhibiting specific behaviors. But what were these behaviors, and why were they being targeted? The community unearthed evidence of a mysterious threshold tied to the blacklist. Players who crossed this threshold were automatically flagged, but the purpose of this flagging remained shrouded in mystery. It became clear that the blacklist was just one cog in a much larger machine, designed to control and manipulate player behavior. But what was the ultimate goal of this system, and how did it tie into the enigmatic 1.5 update? The community was resolute in their pursuit of the truth, and they continued to dig deeper. They discovered that the system's tentacles reached far beyond the game, infiltrating the broader Roblox ecosystem. The implications were profound, but the community's questions only seemed to multiply. What did this mean for the future of the game, and how would it impact the community as a whole? As they teetered on the precipice of a groundbreaking discovery, one thing was certain: the truth was far more sinister than they could have ever imagined, and the community was about to uncover a secret that would change everything. What does it all mean, and what is the truth behind the 1.5 update? The investigation had led to a labyrinthine web of systems and protocols, each one more baffling and intriguing than the last. We'd uncovered a hidden world of automated systems, blacklists, and enigmatic updates, but the more we dug, the more questions we had. What was the truth behind the 1.5 update, and how did it fit into the grand scheme of things? The community was resolute in its pursuit of answers, painstakingly piecing together the evidence like a puzzle. We discovered that the 1.5 update was more than just a simple patch; it was a crucial component of a vast, intricate system designed to control and manipulate player behavior. But what was the ultimate goal of this system, and how did it tie into the broader Roblox ecosystem? The investigation had led to more questions than answers, but one thing was certain: the truth behind the 1.5 update was far more complex and sinister than anyone could have imagined. We'd stumbled upon cryptic messages, hidden codes, and suspicious patterns of behavior, all hinting at a larger conspiracy. The community was left to wonder what other secrets lay hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. As we delved deeper, the silence from the developers was deafening, fueling our suspicions and sparking our determination to uncover the truth. The investigation had only scratched the surface, and it was clear that there was much more to the story. But what did it all mean, and what was the truth behind the mysterious 1.5 update? The clock was ticking, and we were running out of time to find the answers before the trail went cold. The truth behind the 1.5 update is a complex web of systems and protocols designed to control and manipulate player behavior. The devs know exactly what they did, and the evidence suggests that they are still actively working to hide the truth. The update was not just a simple patch, but a key component of a much larger system, one that has far-reaching implications for the Roblox community. The investigation has only scratched the surface, and it is clear that there is much more to the story. But one thing is certain, the truth behind the 1.5 update is a sinister and complex web of deceit, and the devs are at the center of it all. And there's no way that's a coincidence, the devs know exactly what they did.